I'm Aileen. Welcome back to my channel. This is Homeschool with the Clarks. Today I want to chat about the Yoto player. If you've been around for a while, I have a whole playlist full of tips and tricks for using your Yoto player. But today I want to talk about why you might not want a Yoto player. We're going to talk pros and cons about the Yoto player, and I'm going to be totally real and honest about the things that I don't like about the Yoto player or things you may want to consider before you make an investment in the Yoto player. So let's get started. First things first, we're going to talk about the cons. I'm going to start with the cons. We're going to jump right into it. What are the cons of owning a Yoto player? I would say the number one con is the expense. The Yoto player itself is in the $100 range, and the cards can range from anywhere between like $8 and even up to $30, depending on the book. And you're going to want more than one card, right? Your kid's not going to want to listen to the same story over and over and over again. So the number one thing I would consider before you jump into owning a Yoto player is, do you have that money in your budget? And is it going to be worth it to spend that money on the Yoto player? Are you going to use it for enough time to justify the expense? And also, are you going to have money in your budget to be adding to your collection over time? Because at this point in time, I don't know of any other like discounted Yoto card places. You can sometimes buy them in the Yoto group for a discount or find discontinued ones in the Yoto Facebook group, but they're still kind of pricey. It's about the same as buying a children's book, but it's a different format. And so that is definitely something that you should consider, and if that's going to be the right financial decision for your family. The next thing that I just don't love about the Yoto player is you cannot access library apps. We are a huge library family. We go at least a couple times a month, if not every week. I constantly have holds of books on hold at the library, and I use my Hoopla and Libby apps every single day. And my two older daughters, who are 11 and 9, actually use their Hoopla and Libby apps on their tablets quite often. And unfortunately, at least at this point in time, the Yoto does not have a way to connect to the library apps to stream the library audiobooks that you may borrow or music that you may borrow. The only workaround, hypothetically, and I don't even know the legalities of it, but I have heard discussions in the Yoto player group on Facebook, is some people will borrow like a physical CD audiobook from the library, and they have like a disk drive access on their computer or an external disk drive or something. They'll upload it to Yoto, put it on a make your own card, and then delete it when they return the library book, because you can't just take it. That would be stealing. But I feel like that's still a gray area. We've never done that. It could be an option for your family to borrow the physical books if you have access to all of that other technology. But again, you would want to delete it off of your make your own card when you return the book on tape or book on CD. Now, I have shared about Yoto make your own cards, which are probably one of the things that I use the most with my Yoto player. And that is, if you're not familiar, you can buy make your own cards. This is a make your own card. I have a sticker that I printed out and put on there. And you can purchase audiobooks to put on the make your own card. But the challenge with that is it has to be from an audiobook company that will actually let you download the MP3 format. So if you already own children's books on Audible, like we did, you can't take those audiobooks. Now, there is a workaround. There is software that will pull the audiobooks from Audible so that you can download them, but it is against Amazon's terms of service. So that's just something to consider as well. If you already own a whole bunch of children's audiobooks on Audible, and you won't be able to put them on a card. Now, you could play via Bluetooth on your Yoto speaker, but then you're taking the independence away from your kiddo, or you're handing them a phone. And I feel like that kind of goes against the purpose of the Yoto player, of it being screen free. Another thing to consider is, do you have Wi-Fi? And I mention that because I know not everybody has Wi-Fi. Hypothetically, you could use like hotspot on your cell phone, but when you're first setting up your Yoto player and anytime you add a new card to your library, you are gonna need Wi-Fi access. And if for some reason you did purchase like hundreds and hundreds of cards, whatever card has not been used, like whatever card was used last, if you are at your capacity, your Yoto player's capacity for storing the books, then it will have to re-download in order for them to play that card again. So it doesn't need consistent all the time Wi-Fi access, but for setup and downloading new card content, you will need that Wi-Fi access. So that's something to consider as well. Some people just don't want Wi-Fi in their kids' rooms. Like, it's something to consider. Is that going to be right for your family? Another thing that is not an issue now, but has been an issue in the past, and I feel like if I'm going to do this pros and cons video right, I should mention it, is that they have had issues with their stuff. Their chargers specifically were having issues. I remember seeing in the Yoto group that maybe someone's like melted or caught on fire. They have done a full recall and they replaced everyone's chargers. But that has happened. So that's something to keep in mind as well. At this point in time, I believe all of their Yotos are working and they have replaced all of the pieces or sent replacement parts or replacement Yoto players. But that did happen, and that's something to know. The last con is, it's not really a con, but it does, I hope this never happens, but it's something to consider. If Yoto hosts all of the data, right? So they're hosting all of the books and music and all of the things that either you purchase Yoto cards or you upload the content onto their website, and they're hosting all of that. So hypothetically, if Yoto went out of business and no one purchased them, you would lose that content. I would think that the Yoto player would still work with the content that's uploaded onto the actual player, but anything that's not uploaded onto the player, you would lose. And to clarify, you don't have to go in and say, like, be super tech savvy and upload everything. It does it automatically. Here's my Yoto player, right? I'll turn it on. Maybe I'll turn it on if it's not dead. It's dead. Okay. So, oh no, it's turning on. Just took a minute. So when you put a Yoto card in here, and it has not been played before on your player or hasn't been played in a long time. Yeah, see, my battery's dead. I need to charge it. When you stick it in here, a little cloud will show up instead of this dead battery sign. I'm going to charge it right now, but a little cloud will show up here. And then as long as you're hooked up to Wi-Fi, it will automatically download. So there's not anything you need to do. You just need to stick the card in the slot. Just so you know, in case you're not familiar with the Yoto player, which I'm assuming you're not if you're watching this video because you're considering getting one for a child in your life. Now, before I go into the pros of owning a Yoto player, I want to just pause and ask, if you enjoy my content, if you want more content on Yoto players, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That would be greatly appreciated. On to the pros of the Yoto player. I feel like I came in a little bit negative, a little bit hating on the Yoto player, but I actually love our Yoto player. My kids love the Yoto player, so I'm gonna share what our pros are for owning a Yoto player. The number one thing is it's really easy to use. So my 5-year-old, we bought this when she was 3, and she was able to use it from day one. It's really easy to stick the cards in. Now, 3-year-olds are gonna stick the card in and pull it out and stick another card in and pull it out. At least that was my experience. That can be a little annoying, so you might want to hook some headphones up and give them the headphones, but they have a blast, and it just gives them that autonomy. They can be so independent and do it all by themselves, and they don't need help from mom and dad, and they can play their own books and their own music, and that is like so awesome. And yes, there are other ways to do that. You can do that with Amazon Alexas, like the Echo Dots. You can do that with Amazon kids tablets. We're an Amazon family, so I'm talking Amazon stuff. I know that there's other brands out there as well. However, those things I feel like are not, they have some hiccups. Like we've had some issues with the Echo Dot pulling from WikiHow and answering questions that were a little bit inappropriate for my kids. This was years ago, but it did happen. Obviously with the tablets, that can be problematic. especially if you are a low screen family. And so this one is screen free. It's super fun. And, there's so many different options. You can listen to podcasts. You can listen to audiobooks, obviously. You can listen to a picture book and follow along in the real book. Your grandparents can record themselves reading a story to your child and they can play it over and over and over again. Parents who are in the military overseas, same thing. They can record something and the kids can play it over and over and over again. You can just do so many things. And then music also is, you can put your own music that you own on a make your own card, or you can buy Yoto cards with music on them. So there's so many options. It's so great for little kids. Also, the Yoto player can grow with your child. My oldest, who is 13 and a half, he doesn't use the Yoto player. However, but he didn't grow up on it. Like, we bought it when he was like 11. And so I feel like he was already kind of at the top end to maybe be starting on a Yoto player. He already does have a tablet that he uses for audiobooks. So, but my other kids, my daughter is 3 girls and they are 5, 9, and 11 at the time of shooting this video. And they all love the Yoto player. It primarily lives in my daughters, who are 5 and 9's bedroom. They go to sleep to it every single night. However, I have considered buying a second one because my 11-year-old would also love to go to sleep to it every single night. Our workaround has been, she now has Hoopla and Libby on her tablet and she can listen to audiobooks that way. And we are comfortable with that in our family and we feel like we have safeguards in place to do that. But it can totally grow with your kid. Yoto itself has a lot of awesome novels for older kids. Like, they have the whole Harry Potter series. They have the whole Narnia series. You can buy essentially any audiobook and put it on a Yoto card. So it could be adult books. I know that there are not a ton, but there are some adults who use Yoto players and just use them for adult books. So it can definitely grow with your child. And I think it could be a good investment if your kid really loves listening to books. Another pro for the Yoto player is that the make your own cards can be used again and again and again. I showed you this make your own card. Oh, it's upside down, which is actually a podcast. So because we have it accessible to Wi-Fi, my girls can put this in the Yoto player, and if a new podcast episode has been released, they get to listen to the brand new one. Otherwise, it'll just play the older ones. But when they get sick of listening to Circle Round, I can just attach something else to this card. I can peel the sticker off. I could write over the sticker. I could cover it up. The sticker doesn't matter, but the content, I can change the content over and over and over again. And I feel like that makes it more affordable if you do go the make your own route. Another thing that we love about the Yoto is that it just extends that read aloud time. I am a homeschool mom of 4 kids, currently everywhere from pre-K to 8th grade, and I am stretched pretty thin. During the day, I make a point to connect with my kids and read aloud to them every day, especially the little one. We do a lot of picture books, but this extends that. And there's so many studies that show reading aloud to your kids and getting exposure to that literature being read aloud and then hearing the complex vocabulary being read aloud and used in context and pronounced correctly. It's so great for them. And that is one of the main reasons why I made the jump to purchase the Yoto player. Another thing is that they are pretty darn durable. This case did not come with the Yoto player. I bought it on Amazon. It's silicone. My kid can carry it around, but even without the case, I mean, it's pretty solid. It's been dropped many, many times. I do recommend getting a case just for that extra cushion, and also the handle is really nice. But it's very durable. And again, if you're starting it with a younger child, that's important, right? They're going to carry it around with them everywhere and it's going to get dropped. And I love that it's not super breakable. Last pro, I would say, at least for our family and our Yoto player use, is it's just a great way to wind down at the end of the day. Our Yoto player does not get used a ton during the day, but it gets used at bedtime every single night. And it's just a great way to add into the routine of getting to hear some books, getting to listen to something special and keeping little minds distracted while they're laying in bed and falling asleep, especially for little kids who maybe don't want to sleep without mom and dad. I have one of those. It really, really helps them to just wind down and fall asleep. And I have a bonus pro. Bonus time. My bonus pro, which goes hand in hand with them falling asleep, is that you can control the Yoto player from an app on your phone. So you can set sleep timers, you can control the volume, you can play anything in your Yoto library. You don't even have to have the physical card. As long as your Yoto player is on, you can tell it to play whatever you want it to play and it'll play it. So I have total control. I can be laying in bed and realize that it's 11 p.m. and Circle Round is still playing on the Yoto player. That happens a lot. And turn it off from my phone. I don't have to get up and leave the room. If my smallest child is playing her Yoto music a little bit too loud during school hours, I can very slyly turn the volume down, which makes it a little easier for that battle. So that's just like a really great bonus pro about the Yoto player. If you did like this video and you want to know more about the Yoto player, please go ahead and check out my Yoto playlist. I'll see you next time. Bye.